Okay, ¿listos? Okay, un repaso del a empezar. So this repaso for the a empezar is exactly like the quiz. 100% exactly like the quiz. Okay?
Sweet.
So we have número uno. Repite todos. ¿Cuál?
¿Cuál
Es.
tu
Apellido.
apellido?
¿Cuál es tu
¿Cuál es tu
apellido?
apellido?
¿Qué significa apellido? Last name. Last name. Apellido is last name. What would this mean?
You informal.
Yeah.
Use
Which
last
is
name.
you informal last name. Okay? No accent over this to make it your. Now, your, is this a first person, second person, or third person possessive adjective?
Second person.
Second person. When I ask you something in the second person, how are you going to answer it? First person, right? ¿Cuál es tu apellido? They answered, mi apellido es perfecto. Mi apellido es, and then you don't even have to have el if you don't want, you can just have Soto. Mi apellido es Soto. Perfecto. There you go. There's number one on the quiz questions tomorrow. Learn it. I'm not hiding the quiz questions, people. You should all be able to get 100%. Go home and learn these.
Sweet.
Okay? Número dos. ¿Cuántas muchachas hay en tu clase? Now, look at cuántas. What did I do to our question word, cuántas?
It's feminine.
It's feminine. Why?
Because we're talking about girls.
Because it's muchachas. I'm asking about girls. ¿Cuántas muchachas? ¿Qué significa hay?
Are there
in
your class?
Your class. Okay? Now, when we're doing sentences and we have to answer them in a complete sentence, what's our first strategy? What do we need to identify first?
Subject.
Okay, maybe the subject. What else would be helpful to identify? How many? You need to identify the question word, right? Because if I ask you, who are the girls in the class, that's a very different question than from where are the girls in the class, which is a different question than where are they? They just disappeared. All of them ran for the hills. Okay? ¿Cuántas? If I ask you cuántas, what do you have to have in your answer?
A number.
A número. Jenkins, please, levántense. Stand up. You must have a number. ¿Cuántas muchachas hay en tu clase? Now, and our second rule is, if all else fails, what do we do?
Regurgitate the question.
Regurgitate the question. If all else fails, regurgitate the question. How many muchachas, girls, are there in your class? So, I want you to use a possessive adjective when you answer this. Okay? How do you say there are? I. What does son mean?
There are.
They are.
They are.
Not there are, they are. They are 16 girls. So what do we need to do to son?
I.
Now, are you going to get away with putting 1-6 on the quiz? Totally
Yes.
not. No.
What?
What happens to DAC6? It's a weirdo. What happens to it? DAC6.
Yes.
So how are we going to start our sentence?
I.
DAC 6 muchachas en la clase. Hay 16 muchachas en la clase. Okay? Or, I want you to say in my class.
In me.
In mi clase. And this is what I would want. Okay? This would be the ideal answer. You could also say in mi clase hay 16 muchachas. In my class there are 16 girls, or there are 16 girls in my class. I don't care which way you do it, but it is important to have that in there. Okay? Both sides of it. Ashley Rideres, por favor, presta atención. ¿Cómo se llaman tus tíos? ¿Cómo se llaman tus tíos? Now, llamarse isn't a verb that we've seen a whole lot. We've only just seen it in questions and answers. ¿Cómo te llamas? Yo me llamo. ¿Cómo se llama usted? Yo me llamo. Blah, blah, blah. Yes? This one, ¿cómo se llaman? This is plural. Tus tíos. Okay? If all else fails, what do we do? Regurgitate the question. How do they call themselves? How do they call themselves? Your aunt and uncle. Oh, my aunts and uncle. They call themselves. How do I say they call themselves?
Yaman.
Yaman. And what do we need before that yaman? Se llaman. Bill E. Bryce. Okay? Now, does tíos necessarily just mean uncles? No. What else could it be?
Aunts and uncles.
Your aunt and uncle, right? It could be your aunt and uncle. So I could say, mis tíos se llaman Mitch and Dennis. Yeah? Mis tíos se llaman, blah, 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 blah. Okay, next one. Donde is where? De donde?
From where?
De donde son? From where are they your parents? Now, be careful on the quiz tomorrow. There is a question that has 2 parts. And that's each worth 1 point. Okay, so you have to make sure and answer both parts of the question. From where are they your parents? So how are we going to start this out?
Me parents.
My parents. And so we have mis padres, my parents. Absolutely perfect. My parents. They are
Of.
from or of de los AAUU. What does los AAUU mean?
The
Los
United
Estados Unidos.
Unidos.
Muy bien. Los Estados Unidos. Estados Unidos is the United States. Why are there 2 E's for United States?
Oh.
How many states are there? More than 1, right? So it's plural. That's why it's AAUU instead of AU for Estados Unidos. Okay? Now, the second part of the question says, hablas mucho con ellos. Now, hablas. What form is hablas in, Miss Summer? Hablas mucho con ellos. Hablas, what form of the verb hablar is hablas? The to form. Muy bien. So if I ask you a question in the to form, how do you have to answer me?
In the first
Right?
person.
In the first person, the yo form. So, hablas mucho con ellos? No hablo con ellos. Or sí hablo mucho con ellos. Any preguntas? Okay, so here's the run. Adios!